What's going on, y'all? We back. Hey, so I've been enjoying doing these videos, and today I think I want to do one a little bit different. I don't be tending to regret much, but if I had to say that it was one thing that I regretted in my life, it was the use of credit cards and debt. Oh my goodness. This right here has probably been the number one thing to hold me back from getting to the things that I want. It seems like credit cards make your life better because you can have something ahead of its time. But boy, what I noticed over my lifetime is every time I went out and bought something ahead of its time, I always ended up still paying for the item long after I have it. And then what happens is what you look at, and sometimes stores will even tell you like, oh, you can take this item home for only $17 a month. What most people don't think about is before you're done paying for that item, you find something else you want that's another $15 a month, and now you're paying $32 a month. Look, what I'm saying is the biggest way to eat up your ability to purchase something is by having a bunch of little payments out there that you can't control. Everything from subscriptions to just interest rates, credit card debt, all these things, they just add up and make it so basically if you have a car payment, then you have a house note, then you have a credit card payment. Next thing you know, if you're making, I don't want to throw out any numbers, but if you're making $1,000 a month and you have 300 of it going out to a car, 200 going out in credit card payments. Basically what I'm saying is this is the fastest way to eat up your buying power. And what it really boils down to is buying things ahead of schedule or ahead of time. What I'm starting to notice is like a common theme is if you can wait until you are able to afford something, it will only work out in your best interest to wait until you can pay for it. Because otherwise what happens is, and let's just be clear, for homeowners, you will understand this. It's one of those things. People buy a house and think, ooh, this is what I can afford. And then what happens is after you buy your house, there's all these fees that come into owning a house that people don't think about, like maintenance. If you're renting, you can call your renter up, the person who you're renting from, or your landlord, and say, hey, I have a water leak. If you don't, then you have to fix it yourself. And a lot of people don't factor in when they think about their budget of what they can afford. And if you look at it like, I can afford a $1,500 a month rent, so let me go and get a $1,500 a month mortgage, it's not like that. You have to factor in some buffer for maintenance. If all you could afford was $1,500 in rent, then who's going to replace the roof? Who's going to replace water leaks and things like that? One thing I suggest, but it doesn't cover everything, is a home warranty. So when people think about making purchases, I just tell people like this. It's a difference between being able to purchase something and being able to afford something. Once you think about what you can afford, then you also think about the maintenance of upkeep. So because you can afford a vehicle, this is what people say, I can afford this amount of car, and then they can't afford to keep gas in it. And that's what keeps the car from moving. What I'm saying is if you are in that situation, you also have to think about what is it going to take to keep the car maintenance. Now, if you're buying new, which I'm starting to feel like buying new cars is a horrible thing to do these days, period. I think it's a very bad thing to do because you lose that 25% of the car's value as soon as you drive off the lot. So if you bought a Wow, I just got interrupted by a emergency alert, but it was just a test. But what I was saying was, if you bought a $40,000 vehicle, you can expect to be worth about $30,000 after you drive it off the lot. Like the dealership is not going to give you $40,000 back for the car. Once you put a few miles on it, no one's going to pay brand new prices for it. Basically, they can go and get a brand new car. Now, with the way things are now, I hear that used cars are going for more than used cars, or used cars are going for more than new cars, like with Tesla and stuff. But I'm not into the electric cars yet. I haven't looked into all that. I don't plan on it. But basically what I'm saying is what I did wrong was I grew up in a household where people didn't understand money and didn't talk about money. And as a result, I grew up as a person who does not like to talk about money. And especially when I run into so many people who don't understand money, it's hard to talk about it. I am learning now that the greatest benefit that you can do is basically, a lot of people can get money and a lot of people spend money, but it's very hard to keep and retain money. And I tell people there is a such thing as happy money and there's a such thing as sad money. Happy money is money that has company. Happy money is money that goes out and makes friends and brings it back to you. That means money that works for you. Sad money is money that just comes in and is already given a destination of where it's going to go and you have no control over it. That's what debt does to you. It gives you a bunch of sad money. It's money that you can't control it because it has to go out. I'm saying even utilities are a debt. It's something that you owe to someone. That is sad money. That is money that's like, I know where I have to go and I'm sorry I couldn't do more for you. It's like a sad person. But happy money is like, oh, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to find $2 and bring it back home. That's what happy money is. And what I'm saying is debt brings you sad money. Investments and things that are going to better your future bring you happy money. Now, I was sitting here saying how debt has held me back. I'm saying it's because of debt that I can't properly invest right now. I'm telling people you should not start investing until you have all your debts covered up. The reason I say that is most debts, especially credit card debts, they're like 20% interest. Some might have 9 and 13% interest, but most credit cards are like 20% interest. And with those being at such a high interest rate, it's really not many investments that you can invest in that will bring you more money than you're losing in a credit card debt. So it's best to go ahead and start paying off all your debts before you start investing. And I'm saying that's what situation I'm in right now. I'm in a debt snowball. Look, if you don't know about Dave Ramsey, I'm saying look into him. I'm starting to encourage people that I come in contact with to look into him. He is like a debt-free. Look, he wants you to do everything in your life debt-free. Let's go through a little bit of my story. So, like I said, when I was young, I started out buying things on credit card. When I joined the Air Force, it was so great to. Everybody told me as a young person, build your credit, do what it takes to build your credit. And what I'm saying is that is teaching a person who does not understand who doesn't understand the financial world, period, is setting them up for failure. It's like saying, go out here and play with a time bomb and just try and figure it out. I was told to go out and get credit cards to make my credit score better, but no one taught me that a credit card was holding me back. It was because of the money every month that I lacked. I'm trying to tell y'all, credit is a bad thing. That is a fact. Look, let me get back to it. What I'm trying to say is, I started out with credit cards. And the reason why I did that is because I was like, oh, I want to be able to buy a car. Look, my first car, I reached out to my family members trying to get somebody to co-sign for me to make my interest rate better. And I'm telling you, by doing that, it made my interest rate worse. So I did it by myself. And let me say this, my first car, I paid 18% interest for that car. And that hurt so bad. It was $350 a month for a $13,000 car. That is a ridiculous amount to pay. And most of the interest was what was going away. I'm saying I was probably paying only $150 out of that $350 towards paying down the value of the car. Everything else was just going to the person to pad their pocket for loaning me the money. I look at creditors like a casino. The only way that they win is if you lose. And I'm trying to say the house always wins. Credit cards, car notes, all that stuff. Look, they set it up so, look, I hate to sit here and bash it, but let's just go on with my story. I went from credit cards trying to buy cars. I bought way too many cars on credit. Now, every car that I got for free or I paid cash for, I had no stress or anxiety associated with it. But every time I bought one on credit, it was like I was looking at that time frame like, when is this going to end so that I don't have to pay this car note anymore? It was pretty sad. And I'm saying it was just a year ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, it might have been 2 years ago now, that I paid off my last car note, and I plan on not having a car note again. Uh, Now, after that, let's just say I went into thinking I was going to invest in real estate. So I bought a house in Florida. The house in Florida, it was during the time of I bought it in 2004. So before the 2008 collapse. But what happened was I bought the house and I bought it at a good rate for a person to live in. Now, since I bought it on credit, and this is what I try and tell people, when you buy something on credit, it doesn't matter if it's a property or it doesn't matter what it is. As soon as you buy it, there are terms of agreement that you agree to. Once you enter into those terms of agreement, when that clock starts ticking, they expect you to pay. I'm saying sometimes they'll say 90 days, same as cash, or whatever they'll say. That means that you have a time frame that you have to pay this off by. And if you don't pay it off by that time, then they kick in the interest. Well, I will say this, even for real estate, what happens is a lot of people think I'm going to get into real estate and flip it, or I'm going to get into real estate, use somebody else's money, and then that's how I'm going to win. And I'm saying this is where the problems come in. What you're planned for the future is great, but then there's always these little roadblocks that come up that you're not prepared for. So let me give you a few of mine. I bought a house, great price. Now, in the beginning, I bought the house on an 80-20 loan, and that 80-20 was so that I can get out of paying the down payment, the 20%. So I took out 80% of the loan as one loan and 20% as another loan. And what they told me was that that 20% was not going to be really anything that I had to worry about. But what happened was that 20%, it started going up every single month. So I'm paying one amount for this 80% and it's staying good. I can afford this. But that 20% is starting to gain interest that I can't keep up with. And now it's making this 80% and this 20%, which just keeps going up, is making my payment go up to something that was unreasonable. So what did I do? I went ahead and refinanced because I'm like, I can't take this 20% going up to a price that I can't pay. It was like $700 was easy, but then it started creeping up to making my overall payment be $1,100, $1,200. It just didn't seem like it was going to stop. So I had to stop the bleeding. So what I did is I went in and refinanced, and they tricked me. Take out a little bit of money while you're refinancing. And it's like, why not? I can get some things done, get caught up on some credit. But what happens is you roll that debt into the house note, which they're going to get over 30 years. So you just extend that debt out longer. But I've made bigger mistakes than that when it came to the same property. Now, the military tells me I have to move away. So now I have to refinance, or I have to rent out my property. Now, this is when it gets important because in 2008, this major collapse happened. Now, I'm moving away around the same time as this major collapse, but I have to rent. And now that the market has crashed, it didn't just affect the cost of houses. It also affected the rental property values as well. So now that houses are starting to fall, people can go out and just buy houses. They don't have to worry about rent. So now the rent market is starting to drop, and people can literally walk in and say how much they want to rent your house for. So now a house that I'm paying $1,100 for, I'm only able to rent it for $700, $800. Now I'm losing $400 a month. Every single month, just so I don't lose the house. Now, most people would say, why didn't you file bankruptcy or do this or do that? Some people want to try and live up to their obligations. And that hurts me for always trying to do what's right. But who wants to lay their burden down on the rest of everyone else to pay? So what I'm saying is, here's the rest of the story coming your way. So now, I didn't went and refinance this house. I am now forced to put it out for rent. And now the market is going down for rent, so I'm losing $400 a month. Now, all the other things that I have going on in my life, remember, I still have to live somewhere. So what I'm saying is I'm losing $400 a month out of my income to pay for a house that I don't even live in anymore, just so I can stay in it until the market comes back up. Because once the value of the market dropped, now this house is not worth what I paid for it anymore. Let's just say it was about $120,000 for the house, and it dropped down to being worth about $60,000. So I literally had to wait the whole time for it to come up from 60. Because basically what I'm saying is, when you enter into a contract with the bank, they will not allow you to lose their money. They will only allow you to lose your money. So now that this house is not worth what I bought it from the bank is not going to allow you to sell it. They will take it from you and ruin your life before they allow you to sell it and let them take a loss. So I had to wait. until the market came back up to somewhat decent. Oh my goodness, let me tell you how it gets worse. So right around then, when the market's starting to come back up again, I get a horrible renter. I didn't get notified because I'm not in the area, but I get a horrible renter. That horrible renter tore up the house, had 2 pets in the house. Literally what I'm saying is they did $15,000 worth of damage to the house. Now, the property management company that I had, let me tell you how that works, but that's also a drain on you. So I ended up losing, let's just say the property management company did not do their job to maintain the property. They didn't do their job to keep the tenants. So when the tenant left, they left a month early. They destroyed the townhouse. And then I had to get everything fixed so that it can go back up to a rental state. But what I'm saying is, if one tenant did $15,000 worth of damage, then what would make you want to put that much money into a property that you're not going to make $15,000 off of in a year just to do it again? I'm saying if I got to do this kind of money to renovate the house, let's do it and just sell it. Because the market was just getting back to it took a long time for the market to come back. But here we go. So I end up trying to fund this. Now you have to understand, when I said in the beginning, when you have an agreement, you have to stick to it. That means I still had to pay the mortgage every single month for that house. I had to pay the mortgage with no one in it while I was getting it renovated, while I wasn't living there. So now I'm here making the money trying to pay for it, but I could not make the money fast enough. I still had to pay for here at the same time. So then that's when credit cards came in, because I didn't want to lose the house when I was this close to the finish line. So now the rest of the charges that I could not afford, I had to start putting them on credit cards. And this hurt. But it was so that I did not lose the house. But you know what I did by doing that? I put myself in $1,600 worth of interest fees every single month. And here it is. I am now trying to finish off the last credit card. I basically maxed out 4 credit cards trying to keep that house from going under. And I sold the house, but it cost me $40,000 to get the house to the market, not to my pocket. I did not make that money back. Matter of fact, I broke even on the sale. I had to do a new roof on the house. I had to do new siding on the house. I had to do a new furnace or AC unit for the house. I even had to replace the refrigerator. And when they came in and replaced the refrigerator, they gave me one that didn't have a water line on it. And they didn't crimp it. So when they turned the water back on the house, they flooded the whole downstairs of the townhouse, which means I had to go in and replace all the flooring on the first floor as well, that I had already replaced once. Basically what I'm saying is, between having to make the monthly payment of a place where I was not living, because you cannot let the mortgage go into default, you cannot let the maintenance of the facility go under. All these things are things that people don't think about when they think about, oh, I could just get a loan and flip somebody else's money. What I'm saying is that's not how it works. It's a business right up the street from me that they started building a hotel right before COVID. And I can tell you what happened, because it's not done still. They have not even started. Basically, they had to sell the building to someone else because they were unable to finish. And what most people do is they start the loan and they factor in, this is how much time it's going to take for me to get this business up and running. But you don't factor in the things that are outside of your control. It's like a gamble. So let me go on. I end up selling the house. I told you I broke even. Well, I didn't tell you about them, huh? They basically took out loans thinking that they would have the business up and running probably in a 6-month period, but they didn't factor in COVID. And then they had to keep paying people. And basically when COVID was over, that was probably when the loan for the building came due. And they didn't have that money. So they probably started paying the loan out of the money that they had received, which meant they didn't have enough money to finish the build. And so now the building sits there half built. What I'm saying is, when you do things with other people's money, there are factors in there that you don't have control over. And when you don't have control over them, they really suck you in bad. So I'm saying the one thing that I wish I would have known is not to get involved with the use of other people's money. I'm saying it don't matter how you look at it. When you get involved with the use of other people's money, they're going to look at it. Let's just say this. If you invest someone else's money and you're walking around driving a fancy car and you say, we lost on the investment, the person is going to look at you and say, wait, you didn't lose your money, but you lost my money? That's exactly what creditors do. And they have the backing of the government, and they have the ability to garnish your wages, and they have the ability to come and take your assets. So what I'm saying is, don't play around with other people's money. If that was the one rule, I'm saying, even this mess that DJ Envy's going through with flipping NJ, I'm saying they used other people's money and they lost other people's money, and now they're looking at serious consequences behind that. So today, if I had to be saying I was giving a message, I would say I am the type of person who don't live in regret. But if I ever had one thing that I regretted in my life, it was playing around with credit and the use of other people's money. Because you can't see the future. And if you're using your credit cards as the foundation is backing for you, I'm saying it would be just much easier, in my opinion, to just start putting the money aside and saving it, just like for a car. I got a lot of little advice like this that I feel like can be helpful, but I would say this video, I just am going to say it's about how I feel about credit, debt, and how I feel it's been the one thing that's probably held me back the most in my life. And I am right now in a major snowball effort to finish off the last $8,000 of that house that I have to pay off. I am working so hard at paying that off that I'm saying I feel like I'm getting close, but I can't wait until I can get on here and say it's done. Hey, it's a whole lot of things that I want to talk about. But I'm saying, look into Dave Ramsey. If you are not financially sound and don't understand money, I'm not here to say I'm the person to give it to you. What I'm saying is, I just told you the problems that I had with money. And so I'm hoping that that helps you out not to make some of the mistakes. This would be advice to my sons that I give my boys every single day. Don't use credit. Just forget it. It ain't here to help. Now, I want to give another piece of advice because I just got out of the gym. I just got out the pool. I'm saying another thing that I think all men should get into. Make sure your fitness is great. Up here, in here, physical, inside, up here, your financial health, everything. Look, men, we need to do better. I'm saying get your finances in order, then think about the things elsewhere in your life. If you can get those things under control, you can get peace up here. When you can't get things under control, happy money, keep happy money around you and you keep it. Now, what I'm saying is when you keep it, you make it work for you, invest it. That's still keeping it. Investing is still keeping your money. I'm saying people have a hard time holding on to. It comes in and it goes. Imagine if you had to hold your hands like this and the only water you could drink was the water that was able to be held in your hands. That would suck. You can see through my hands right there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Holding on to money is the same way. Make your money happy. Make your money work for you. If you have sad money around, you're probably going to be a sad person. I am dealing with a lot of sad money right now. It's sad because every dollar I have, doing a snowball effect, every dollar I have has to go out of my pocket towards paying off my debt. I'm working towards happy money. Hey, y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'll be trying to keep these videos from going too long. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm going to keep coming with these videos. I see how they're beneficial. They're beneficial to me. I'm saying, if anything, I tell you, learn from my mistakes. That's what wisdom is. Look, a smart man learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. And what I'm saying is, I'm here to treat everybody just like they my brothers and sisters. You get where I'm coming from. Hey, make smart decisions. Make wise decisions. That means you don't have to make the mistake for yourself. Hey, y'all, much respect, much love. This your boy, and we out.